Before the world knew the name Ghana, before gold traders crossed the Sahara, before Europeans ever saw the West African coast, there existed a land that shaped kingdoms, birthed legends, and changed the course of African history. This land was a crossroads, where deserts met forests, where empires rose from dust, and where the world's most powerful nations fought to claim its wealth. A land that carried a story far older, far deeper, and far richer than the map suggests. This is Ghana, but not just the Ghana you know today. This is the story of a place whose influence stretched from ancient empires to global trade routes, from mighty kings to resistance fighters, from gold caravans to independent marches, a place whose past refuses to be forgotten. Long before independence, long before the British flag touched the Gold Coast, this region was already famous across Africa. Travelers from North Africa spoke of cities built from wealth, where gold flowed like a river. Merchants journeyed for months to reach its markets, where traders shaped the destiny of nations. And long before the name Ghana was restored in 1957, it belonged to an empire that shook the medieval world. But the story isn't just about empires and riches. It's a story of survival, wars, revolutions, foreign invasions, and the people who refused to break, even when the world tried to reshape them. From the rise of the ancient Ghana Empire, to the power of the Ashanti Kingdom, to the brutal years of colonization, to the spark of Pan-Africanism that began a political movement across the continent, Ghana's history is not just West African history, it's world history. The story of Ghana is a story of gold, grit, and greatness, a journey that spans over 1,000 years, a story of kingdoms built on courage, cultures that survived every storm, and a nation that became the first in sub-Saharan Africa to claim its independence. And today, we are going all the way back to the beginning, to the ancient world, to the forgotten roads where caravans carried gold and salt across the Sahara, to the royal courts where kings shaped the future of millions, to the battles that forged the identity of a nation. This is the entire history of Ghana, told from the very beginning, and it starts right now. Long before modern borders, long before anyone called this land Ghana, West Africa was home to some of the greatest civilizations the world had ever seen. Powerful kingdoms ruled vast territories, golden cities thrived in the savannah, and trade routes stretched thousands of kilometers across the Sahara. This era, the age of ancient empires, shaped the identity, culture, and legacy of the region we now call Ghana. To understand Ghana's history, we must travel back over 1,000 years to the beginning. The first great power of West Africa did not sit in modern-day Ghana. It existed far north in present-day Mauritania and southern Mali. But its influence, its name, and its legacy would one day inspire the creation of the modern Ghanaian nation. This empire was called Wagadu, known to the outside world simply as Ghana, the title of its kings. Around the year 300 AD, small Soninke communities began to unify, forming a kingdom built on organization, wealth, and strategic brilliance. By the 8th century, Ghana had become a superpower. Gold was the heart of its strength. The empire controlled the richest gold fields of the ancient world. Caravans from North Africa crossed the Sahara for months just to trade here. They brought salt, clothes, and tools, and left with gold, ivory, and slaves. The capital city, Kumbi Saleh, was described by early travelers as a place of stone houses, bustling markets, and royal courts guarded by warriors wearing gold ornaments. The king was so wealthy that even his dogs wore collars decorated with gold. But this empire was not rich by luck. It was rich through strategy. The rulers taxed every trade caravan entering and leaving the empire. They controlled the gold trade by keeping large gold nuggets for the king alone. Everything else was allowed to circulate. This control made Ghana the undisputed master of West African commerce. But empires rise and empires fall. By the 11th century, pressures began to mount. Trade routes shifted, internal rebellions grew, and invasions from the Almoravids weakened the kingdom. By 1200, the once great empire of Ghana had collapsed, leaving space for a new power to rise. From the ashes of Wagadu emerged another giant, the Mali Empire. Around 1235 DC, a young prince named Sundiata united the Mande clans and defeated the Soso kingdom. With this victory, Mali inherited much of the land, culture, and trade networks once controlled by ancient Ghana. Under Mali, West Africa entered a golden age literally. The empire controlled even more gold mines than its predecessor. Its territories stretched from the Atlantic Ocean to northern Nigeria, making it one of the largest empires in African history. Cities like Timbuktu and Gao became centers of Islamic scholarship, attracting scholars from across the world. Trade flourished, wealth expanded, and Mali grew so powerful that it became a global name. The world would never forget the journey of one of its greatest rulers, the king, often described as the richest man in world history. His pilgrimage to Mecca was so extravagant that he reportedly caused inflation in the cities he passed through. This single journey displayed the sheer power of West Africa to the rest of the world. But like Ghana, Mali too faced growing challenges, succession disputes, regional rebellions, and pressure from rising rival states. By the 1400s, Mali's influence was fading, and soon another empire stepped in. From the city of Gao, the Songhai Empire rose to become the largest and most powerful empire in West African history. If ancient Ghana laid the foundation and Mali built the golden culture, Songhai became the unstoppable military force. Under leaders like Sani Ali and Askia Mohammed, Songhai expanded across thousands of kilometers. It controlled the Niger River, the trade routes, and the cities that had once belonged to Ghana and Mali. Songhai perfected what earlier empires started, like a powerful army, a structured government, and a vast trading network connecting Africa to the Mediterranean. But no empire lasts forever. In 1951, heavily armed Moroccan armies crossed the Sahara and defeated Songhai at the Battle of Tondibi. With this defeat, the era of giant Sahelian empires came to an end, yet their legacy did not disappear. While the great Sahel empires ruled the northern trade routes, powerful states were also forming in the forest and savanna regions of what is today Ghana. These include the Bono State, which is known for early gold mining and trade, the Dagbon Kingdom, which is one of the oldest continuously existing kingdoms in West Africa, the Gonja Kingdom, which is founded by Mande warriors with roots connected to Mali, the Akwamo and Denkyira states, which later influenced the rise of the Ashanti Kingdom. These early states were shaped by the same forces that shaped the great empires: gold trade, migration, warfare, and cultural exchange. The fall of ancient Ghana, Mali, and Songhai created waves of migration across West Africa. Groups moved southward, bringing with them new technologies, military tactics, and political systems. These movements would eventually lead to the rise of one of the most powerful kingdoms in West African history, the Ashanti Empire. But that is a story for the next chapter. From the deserts of the Sahara to the forest of the Gold Coast, the ancient empires of West Africa left behind a legacy of power, wealth, culture, and innovation. They shaped trade routes, influenced kingdoms, and laid the foundation for modern nations, including Ghana. They were the giants of their time, and their echoes still shape the region today. This was the age of ancient empires.
These pots are the finest clay.
I will take 3 for 5 denarii.
Deep in the forests and savannas of West Africa, nature had buried a treasure. Gold deposits lay along rivers, inside rocky hills, and in ancient riverbeds across regions like modern Ghana, Mali, Guinea, Ivory Coast, and Burkina Faso. Long before large empires formed, local communities learned how to find it. They panned the riverbeds, dug shallow pits, and used simple tools to uncover small grains of gold dust. Over time, these small discoveries revealed something enormous. West Africa sat on one of the richest gold belts in the ancient world. This gold was not just decoration, it became power, political, economic, and military. And once North Africa discovered its existence, the world changed. The gold trade was built on one long, dangerous route, which is the trans-Saharan route. For months, caravans loaded with salt, copper, cloths, horses, and weapons would travel across the Sahara Desert from cities like Sijil Massa and Marrakesh. They moved in massive groups like hundreds of camels, sometimes thousands, to survive the heat, bandits, and deadly winds. Their destination was the edge of the West African kingdoms, just south of the Sahara. This is where the magic happened. Traders from the north would arrive with their goods. Traders from the south, from the gold-producing regions, would meet them. But one thing was clear: the people who mined the gold never allowed outsiders to see exactly where the gold came from. The mines were a guarded secret. Instead, they controlled the trade through a system that impressed even medieval historians. One of the most fascinating practices in the ancient gold economy was the silent trade, and here's how it worked. Northern traders would arrive at a trading site, place their goods on the ground, beat on a drum, and step back. Then southern traders, often from the forest zones, would appear, place gold dust next to the goods, beat the drum again, and walk away. Neither group spoke, neither group met face to face, neither group revealed their mining locations. If the northern traders thought the gold offered was too little, they waited. The southern traders returned and added more. Only when both sides were satisfied would each take what belonged to them. This system worked for centuries. It protected the secrecy of the gold mines and prevented conflict between different ethnic groups who did not share a common language. The profits from this trade transformed small kingdoms into global powers. The first great empire to control the trade was the Ghana Empire, also known as Wagadu. Although modern Ghana is far south, the ancient Ghana Empire controlled the Sahel region and became the continent's wealthiest state because of one strategy, which is taxation. Every caravan that entered or left the empire paid a tax in gold. Every load of salt, clothes, tools, and metal was taxed. Every grain of gold dust traded was taxed. This system turned Ghana into a superpower. Its kings wore gold jewelry, its officials lived in stone houses, and its influence stretched across West Africa. After Ghana fell, the Mali Empire took over the gold trade. Mali controlled even more mines and became so wealthy that one of its rulers changed the world economy during his pilgrimage with massive amounts of gold. Later, as Mali declined, the Songhai Empire rose to dominate the trade routes. For nearly 1,000 years, West Africa's strength, culture, and political structures were built on this golden foundation. While the Sahel empires controlled desert trade, the forests of modern-day Ghana were home to another network of gold activity. Regions such as Bono, Akan lands, and later Ashanti territories produced high-quality gold that fed into both northern caravans and Atlantic trade. Gold dust became the currency of everyday life. Goldsmiths became respected artisans. Families stored their wealth in gold boxes, gold jewelry, and gold weights. In this forest, gold wasn't just a trade product, it was culture, identity, and power. These Akan states would later evolve into powerful kingdoms, eventually giving rise to the Ashanti Empire, an empire that Europeans would fear and respect for centuries. But long before colonization, long before Europeans arrived on the shores of the Gold Coast, West Africans had already built a sophisticated system of trade and wealth based on gold alone. The gold mined in West Africa traveled far beyond the continent. It funded Islamic scholarship in Timbuktu and Gao. It strengthened North African economies. It fueled trade in the Mediterranean. It entered the treasuries of Europe and Asia. Ancient African gold became the backbone of many global currencies. This single resource connected continents long before modern globalization, and it placed West Africa at the center of world trade. For over 1,000 years, the gold of West Africa shaped kingdoms, created cities, attracted armies, and connected distant civilizations. It built the foundations of the Ghana Empire, enriched the Mali and Songhai empires, and sparked the rise of powerful forest kingdoms on the Gold Coast. This was not just trade, it was innovation, it was diplomacy, it was power, it was the lifeline of ancient West Africa. This was the story of the gold trade. For centuries, West Africa was shaped by powerful kingdoms, thriving trade networks, and cultures that stood strong against time. But in the 15th century, a new force appeared on the horizon: ships from Europe. They arrived with guns, goods, and greed, and the long shadow of colonization slowly began to fall over the Gold Coast. In the year 1471, Portuguese sailors reached the shores of the Gold Coast. When they saw the abundance of gold, they gave the region a name that would follow it for centuries: Amina, meaning the mine. To secure their control, they built a massive trading fortress in 1482, Elmina Castle, which is the first major European structure in sub-Saharan Africa. Other Europeans soon followed: the Dutch, the Danes, the Swedes, the Brandenburg Germans, and later the British. They weren't exploring out of curiosity. They were competing for gold, for territory, and eventually for enslaved Africans. The coastline became a battlefield of foreign flags, each fighting to dominate the most profitable trade routes. But while Europeans were busy trading and fighting each other, powerful African kingdoms inland were shaping their own destiny. The Gold Coast was not empty land waiting for Europeans to control. It was home to strong, organized states. The Fante Confederacy controlled much of the coastal trade. The Akwamu built influence in the south. The Denkyira held power over gold-producing regions, and rising above them all was the Ashanti Empire, a military powerhouse. European colonization did not begin as military conquest. It began through alliances, negotiations, and manipulation. The British aligned with the Fante, the Dutch aligned with the Ashanti. European forts became political tools used by African kingdoms to strengthen themselves against rivals. But as European wealth and military technology grew, the balance began to shift, and with the rise of the Atlantic slave trade, everything changed. By the 1600s, European demand for enslaved labor exploded. The castles along the coast, Elmina, Cape Coast, Christiansburg, and Umabo were transformed into holding cells for tens of thousands of enslaved Africans. European powers armed African middlemen with guns and supplies, encouraging raids and wars inland. The result was devastating. Entire communities depopulated, local economies disrupted, kings forced into brutal choices to survive, and rivalries between states intensified. The Gold Coast was reshaped by a trade that drained its population and fueled European wealth. But the greatest contest for power was yet to come, a clash between the Britain and the Ashanti Empire. In the 19th century, Britain emerged as the dominant European power on the coast. The Ashanti Empire, strong and independent, refused to bow to foreign influence. What followed were 5 major Anglo-Ashanti wars, each shaping the future of the region. The British wanted total control of the coast. The Ashanti wanted to protect their trade networks and sovereignty. Battles were fierce, treaties were broken, cities were burned, leaders were exiled. The most symbolic conflict came in 1900 during the War of the Golden Stool, when the British governor demanded the sacred Golden Stool, the soul of the Ashanti nation. This insult sparked a rebellion led by a fierce Queen Mother who refused to surrender. But despite the resistance, British military technology proved overwhelming. In 1901, the Ashanti Empire was annexed. The British had finally broken the last major barrier to full colonization. By the early 20th century, Britain consolidated everything under one administration. The coastal areas they already controlled, the Ashanti territories, the Northern territories, and the remaining coastal states all were merged into a single entity, the Gold Coast colony. Colonial rule meant new economic systems, forced labor, heavy taxation, and the restructuring of traditional authority. Europeans built railways not for Africans but to transport minerals and cash crops. They introduced Western education not to empower Africans but to create a small class of clerks who would serve the colonial government. Yet, colonization also had an unintended effect. It unified diverse ethnic groups under one political structure for the first time. This unity would one day fuel a powerful movement for freedom. Colonization did not go unchallenged. Farmers protested unfair policies. Kings refused British demands. Educated elites began organizing political associations, and ordinary people started questioning why foreigners controlled their land. By the 1920s and 30s, new voices emerged: teachers, lawyers, merchants, workers, calling for reforms and self-rule. Colonial rule had created a system built on exploitation, but it also created a new generation of Africans determined to end it. The stage was being set for a revolution that would change all of Africa, but that is the next chapter in the next story, the long fight for independence. Colonization of the Gold Coast was not a single moment. It was a slow, deliberate process built on trade, alliances, war, and exploitation. It reshaped kingdoms, it redefined borders, it transformed cultures, and it left scars that would take generations to heal. But it also sparked a fire that would lead to the rise of nationalists, freedom movements, and eventually independence. This was the story of colonization in Ghana. In the mid-20th century, two West African giants stood on the edge of history. Both had endured decades of colonial rule, both had rising nationalist movements, both dreamed of freedom, but one of them crossed the finish line first. On March 6, 1957, the world witnessed something extraordinary. Ghana became the first country in sub-Saharan Africa to gain independence. Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, would follow 3 years later. Why? Why did Ghana break free before Nigeria? What forces pushed one nation ahead while the other moved slowly through a maze of colonial complications? Before independence, the Gold Coast was made up of the colony, Ashanti Territory, Northern Territories, and British Togoland. Different people, yes, but far fewer divisions than Nigeria. Nigeria, on the other hand, was a colonial creation made from three huge rival regions: the Northern region, the Western region, and the Eastern region, each with different cultures, religions, political systems, and interests. So while Ghana's groups eventually found common ground under nationalism, Nigeria was slowed down by internal rivalries, disagreements, and regional fears. Unity gave Ghana speed, while division made Nigeria cautious. By the 1940s, political movements in the Gold Coast had become bold, organized, and energized. When a young nationalist returned from abroad, determined, charismatic, and impatient, everything changed. He and his movement began strikes, protests, boycotts, community mobilization, and constant pressure on British officials. Mass mobilization became Ghana's secret weapon. Villagers, farmers, market women, teachers, war veterans, nearly everyone participated. In Nigeria, nationalism was strong, but more elite-driven and slower. Many political parties represented only regions, not the whole nation. Ghana pushed fast, while Nigeria moved cautiously. The Gold Coast was even called the model colony. Why? Because it had a booming cocoa industry, gold mining, timber and rubber exports, good revenue for the colonial administration. The British believed Ghana could manage itself economically. Nigeria was also wealthy, but its size created a problem. The British relied heavily on Nigeria for revenue, especially after World War II. Letting Ghana go was easier. Letting Nigeria go quickly would hurt the British economy. This economic reality made Ghana's independence less risky for Britain, and faster, of course. Nigeria's regional rivalry created deep suspicion. The North feared domination by the South, the West and East mistrusted each other. Political parties refused to agree on a common vision. To Britain, Nigeria looked like a country that needed more time. More time for political parties to stabilize, more time for regional leaders to negotiate, more time to prepare a constitution that wouldn't collapse immediately after independence. Ghana, meanwhile, looked stable and unified under one government. Britain feared chaos in Nigeria but trusted the Gold Coast to stand on its own. A crucial moment happened in 1956. British Togoland, under UN supervision, held a plebiscite, a vote to decide whether to join the Gold Coast or to stay separate. They voted to join. This meant Ghana's borders were settled, its population was united, and the final obstacle to independence disappeared. With everything in place, the British had no reason to delay. Nigeria, however, was still debating federal structures and regional autonomy. Ghana's path cleared, while Nigeria's path remained crowded. The final push came from relentless political pressure. Mass movements made colonization expensive to maintain. Protests made British rule uncomfortable. Nationalist leaders understood how to use international media and the new United Nations to pressure Britain. By 1957, both sides, the people and the colonial administration, were ready. Nigeria still needed constitutional conferences, regional agreements, and careful negotiations. Ghana was already prepared. And so, on the night of March 6, 1957, fireworks lit up the sky over Accra, drums echoed across the land, flags rose. Ghana had done it, the first black African nation to break free of colonial rule, a spark that would ignite liberation across the continent. Nigeria would follow on October 1st, 1960, larger, more complex, and taking the longer road to unity. But the path was the same, and Ghana led the way. After independence in 1957, Ghana became a symbol of hope for Africa, the first nation south of the Sahara to break free from colonial rule. But the dream of stable democracy did not last long. Within a few years, the nation that led Africa in liberation became a nation haunted by military coups, political instability, and repeated struggles for power. This is the story of Ghana's coups, the battles not fought with swords or guns against foreign invaders, but within its own borders. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana's first prime minister and later president, was a visionary leader. He had transformed the country with ambitious industrial projects, education reforms, and pan-African initiatives. But not everyone agreed with his policies. By 1966, discontent had grown. Economic hardship, accusations of corruption, allegations of authoritarianism. On February 24, 1966, the military and police staged a coup while Nkrumah was abroad on a state visit. The National Liberation Council (NLC) took over. Nkrumah never returned to power. It was Ghana's first taste of military intervention in politics, a warning sign of turbulent decades to come. The 1970s were marked by repeated coups and counter-coups. In 1972, Colonel Ignatius Kutu Achimpong overthrew the democratically elected government of Dr. Kofi Busia. Achimpong promised reforms and national development. He introduced the Operation Feed Yourself program to boost agriculture, but economic decline, inflation, and corruption plagued his rule. By 1978, Achimpong was removed in a palace coup led by Lieutenant General Frederick Akufo, his own deputy. Ghana had entered a vicious cycle of military takeovers, with each coup claiming to restore order, yet repeating the same patterns of instability. In June 1979, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings led a coup that shocked the nation. Rawlings accused the military government of corruption and injustice. The 1979 coup was not just about power, it was about revenge and cleansing. Over several weeks, several senior military officers were executed. It was a violent and dramatic assertion that Ghana's politics had changed forever. But Rawlings handed over power to a civilian government later that year, showing that coups could also be a pathway to reform, not just chaos. By December 31st, 1981, Ghana was facing deep economic crisis. Inflation was rampant, food shortages persisted, confidence in the civilian government had collapsed. Rawlings staged another coup, overthrowing the government led by Dr. Hila Liman. This time, he stayed in power, establishing the Provisional National Defense Council (PNDC). Rawlings' government emphasized discipline, anti-corruption measures, and economic restructuring. He ruled Ghana for over a decade, leaving a lasting impact on both the military and political culture of the country. From 1966 to the 1980s, Ghana experienced at least 5 major coups, continuous shifts between military and civilian government, economic uncertainty, and social disruption. Yet, these coups also shaped the resilience of Ghana's political institutions. They forced the population to demand accountability and inspired a movement towards democracy in the 1990s. The coups revealed several patterns. Military interventions often arose from economic hardship and corruption. Popular support or discontent was crucial. Many coups gained initial approval. Leadership instability created cycles of uncertainty that affected development. Yet, strong institutions, civil society, and eventual reforms allowed Ghana to eventually stabilize. By the early 1990s, Ghana had transitioned to a democratic government, ending the era of repeated military takeovers. The story of Ghana's coups is a story of ambition, desperation, and the struggle for control. It is a reminder that independence does not guarantee stability, that freedom must be protected by strong institutions and accountable leadership. Ghana's journey through coups shaped the nation, tested its people, and ultimately prepared the country for a democratic future. The coups were painful, dramatic, sometimes bloody, but they forged a Ghana that learned from its past and emerged stronger. From the moment Ghana broke free from colonial rule in 1957, its story has been one of resilience, transformation, and ambition. From coups to economic crises and from military rule to vibrant democracy, Ghana has evolved into one of Africa's most stable and respected nations. After decades of political turbulence, the 1990s marked a turning point for Ghana. Following years of military rule, constitutional reforms paved the way for civilian governance. In 1992, Ghana held its first multi-party elections under a new constitution. Jerry John Rawlings, once a coup leader, was elected as the democratically chosen president. This transition was monumental. It ended decades of uncertainty, it restored faith in governance, it set Ghana on a path towards political stability. Since then, Ghana has held regular, peaceful elections, becoming a model of democracy in West Africa. Modern Ghana has transformed from a resource-based colonial economy into a diversified and growing nation. Key sectors include agriculture, where cocoa remains a global powerhouse, making Ghana one of the top producers in the world. Mining, where gold and recently oil have fueled economic growth. Services and technology, where urban centers like Accra and Kumasi now drive finance, technology and trade. The government has implemented policies to reduce poverty, improve education and modernize infrastructure. Highways, ports and airports connect the country like never before, linking Ghana to the global economy. Modern Ghana is more than economics, it is a cultural powerhouse. Traditional festivals like Homowo, Aboakia and Panafest celebrate heritage while attracting international attention. Music and dance, from high life to hip life, express both history and modern identity. Education and literacy have expanded rapidly, giving the youth tools to shape the nation's future. Ghana has not only developed internally, but has also played a significant role in Africa and the world. It was a pioneer in the African independence movement. Leaders like Kwame Nkrumah inspired liberation movements across the continent. Ghana has contributed troops to peacekeeping missions and hosted regional diplomacy efforts. Today, Ghana is considered a stable hub for politics, business, and culture in West Africa. No journey is without obstacles. Modern Ghana faces economic inequality and youth unemployment, environmental issues like deforestation and pollution, political tensions and debates over governance and corruption. Yet, the country's resilience and democratic framework allow it to address these problems with innovation and public participation. From independence to coups and from hardship to stability, Ghana has always shown resilience, creativity, and leadership. Its story is a reminder that nations are shaped not just by resources or history, but by people who refuse to give up. Ghana today is a thriving democracy, a cultural beacon, and a nation striving to balance tradition with progress. It stands as a symbol of hope, of resilience, and of Africa's potential in the modern world. Modern Ghana is not just the story of a country, it is the story of a people who have survived, adapted, and thrived. From its ancient empires to its modern cities, Ghana continues to write its history, dynamic, ambitious, and inspiring the continent and the world alike. This is the story of modern Ghana. From the ancient empires that mined gold along the rivers, to the bustling trade routes of the Sahara, to the rise of mighty kingdoms in the forest, from the shadows of colonial rule, through the struggles for independence, to coups, reforms, and the birth of a modern democracy, Ghana's story is a journey of resilience, courage, and vision. For over 1,000 years, the land we now call Ghana has shaped and been shaped by its people. Gold brought wealth, but it was the wisdom, bravery, and unity of the people that truly defined the nation. Empires rose and fell, kings and leaders shaped history, and ordinary citizens endured hardships, all contributing to a legacy that survives today. The struggles of independence, the turmoil of coups, and the challenges of modernization have taught Ghana valuable lessons. The importance of unity across diverse peoples, the power of resilience in the face of adversity, the need for accountable leadership, and the strength of a nation rooted in culture, heritage, and identity. Ghana's history is not just about the past, it's about what the people have learned and how they have built a foundation for the future. Today, Ghana stands as a symbol of hope and progress in Africa, a thriving democracy, a growing economy, a vibrant culture and art scene, a nation respected for its diplomacy and leadership in the region. Ghana has shown that even through centuries of challenge, a nation can rise, adapt, and flourish. The story of Ghana is far from over. Its rivers still carry gold, its cities hum with life, and its people continue to dream, innovate, and lead. From ancient empires to modern democracy, from trade to independence, from struggle to resilience, Ghana's journey is a testament to the spirit of a people who refuse to be broken. And as we look to the future, one thing is clear: the story of Ghana is is not just history, it is a living legacy and it continues today.